Okay.
Good evening. Welcome to the Danvers Conservation Commission meeting for August the 22nd, 2024. We, as a commission, operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaw, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and your address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes the members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, and property owners and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction over other matters such as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the other appropriate boards. Our first order of business will be a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Lorraine Drapek.
Present.
Jonathan Garris. He's not here tonight. Mary Haight.
Present.
And Michael Splain.
Yeah.
Okay, the first order of business on our agenda is a request for a certificate of compliance for 37 Needham Road, DEP file number 14-1106. The applicant is Joe Hines and Teresa Shepard. Does someone from the applicant would like to speak to us? Hi, Terry. Yes.
Hi, I'm Terry Shepard, 37 Needham Road, Danvers. I guess we had this, the separate garage dwelling unit. When I purchased the home, it was existing there, but I guess it had open permits or whatever, and an engineer we hired to make sure everything's all set on it because we'd like to do some more future projects there. And I got a letter stating that it was all in compliance and all set.
You got a letter from who saying it was all in compliance?
The engineer in the town.
You mean now, not back in 2000?
Oh, no, now, recently, yes. we
Okay,
did.
because, yeah, my understanding, this is an open order of conditions from 2007?
I guess so, yeah.
Right,
Like
and
I said,
I-
I didn't own, it was there when we bought the property.
Right. So that, how did a deed get transferred with an open order of conditions?
From what we could tell, the order of conditions itself was never recorded.
They never
so-
saw it
Oh,
on
so
the
it never
Never
made
saw
it
it.
to the register of deeds?
Yeah.
Aha. Okay, so seems to me there's two things. So there's more work you want to do now, or you want to do in the future?
Well, we're gonna pause first. We just came here, I just had a notice to come here.
Right. But you want to do more work in the
Eventually.
future?
Yes.
But we have to close out this,
Correct, yes.
existing
That's
order of
what
conditions.
we're gonna accomplish now.
okay, and there are, and you've been out to the site, Emily?
Yes,
Or
yep,
someone's
went out
been
to the site on August 5th.
And what was the original project?
Just for the garage, demo and rebuild on the existing footprint. for the
And that's
garage.
all been done?
Yep.
But now it's all
It was all done in
overgrown, or-
2007.
It's what?
It was done in 2007. It's all done, yep.
Okay, let me ask other members of the board if they have any questions.
Just,
Mike, go ahead.
For Emily, who's the party that's required to record the order of conditions? So who sees that that's done?
Now, I do. We're very careful about it, but I can't speak for what happened
Back then,
in
you
2007.
don't know if it was on the applicant to do
It is on the applicant, but we also have a tracking sheet
Yeah.
that we use, so we follow things much more
Say,
closely
I've never seen
now.
this happen before.
We've been getting more of these. I got a call today for an order of conditions from 1983 that had
That
never
weren't
been closed out.
recorded?
The conditions were recorded, but there was no COC
Well,
on
that's what I
that.
mean, I've never seen that where there was no order of conditions recorded.
Yeah, I don't know how
So-
this one,
The applicant's responsible for filing the?
yes,
with the,
applicant is
register
responsible
of
for
deeds?
recording, yeah.
Yeah. But you, there to make sure it happens.
Yes, we are cleaning up some old files and
Yeah.
working our way through.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's the only question I had was really for staff.
Okay, Lorraine?
I don't have any questions. questions.
Mary?
I have a quick question. So the deck on the rear of the property is future plans, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm.
But
good.
we had to close out, I guess, all the
Yes,
past
yes.
stuff first, so
Yes,
now
I
we
just wanted
can,
to double check.
we'll move
Yeah.
forward with that soon, hopefully.
All right, so just to summarize, the garage was built according to plans, right? And we just want to close that out, and then they're going to come back with this new project with a totally separate,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
once we
totally new filing.
application.
close this out.
Yep, yeah, it's just to get this closed out, to get this clean before anything new is permitted.
I have a question. When I was told that the towns and cities were waiting for their respectful terms or conditions with the ADUs, even though the bill passed, each town has to wait for their new restrictions or rules or something. So do you know how long that would be? I was told it could be up to a year, but,
That, you'd have to speak to our planning director about
Okay.
that. So I can give you his contact information or send it to you after this, but that would fall more
Okay.
under,
That would
under
be
his
great.
purview.
I
Yeah, sure.
appreciate it. Thank you.
that's not wetlands related, is it?
No, no, no.
Okay. Okay, this is not a public hearing, so let's, someone can make a motion, we'll,
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance for 37 Needham Road, DEP file number 14-1106, subject to our mandatory regulations and also subject to these specific conditions, which I will read, that are to remain in perpetuity. One is there shall be no dumping of leaves, grass clippings, trash, or any kind of refuse in areas under the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. Any sediment, debris, or other materials that fall in or enter resource areas shall be removed immediately by hand. The owner shall be liable for any material dumped in the resource areas subject to this order and will be subject to applicable penalties. During and after work on this project, there shall be no discharge or spillage of fuel, oil, or other pollutants. In the event that there is a spill of any kind and any quantity on the site, the applicant shall immediately notify the Conservation Commission. No salt rock, sodium chloride, shall be used on paved surfaces, and any arrangement of snow removal shall so stipulate. Other de-icing chemicals may be used with the prior written approval of the Conservation Commission after a formal review of the proposed substance. Permanent and prominently located signs submitted to and approved by the Conservation Commission shall be posted stating that this is a no-salt zone. They know about that?
These were all in the conditions that we had sent you? Yes, so yeah, so,
All right.
yes. they
The
have-
Conservation Commission shall not grant a perpetual use of any chemical for the site. Pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers shall not be used within 100 feet of the wetlands, within the riverfront area, and within bordering land subject to flooding. Organic pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and fertilizers may be used subject to the review and approval of the Conservation Commission. Under no circumstances will invasive plant species be permitted during the re-landscaping and planting of the disturbed site. The applicant is also encouraged to use native, drought-resistant vegetation in upland areas. And I assume they they have a copy of these?
Yes, yep, it was on the order. of
This
conditions.
applicant has that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, and it'll be in the certificate of compliance that gets written up as well.
All right, that's the motion. Yeah.
and these conditions will be carried over to the application for the
Yes.
new order of conditions.
Yes.
Right. Okay, the motion's been made, is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, step one is done.
Good luck.
See you again.
I just wanted to emphasize this.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, so Mike read those.
Yeah.
Okay, up,
Bye now.
number 2 is abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, 5 Cemetery Road. The applicant is Roland Lemieux. Is someone here to represent the applicant?
Good evening. I'm Craig Marchanda with Marchanda and Associates, representing the applicant for 348 Andover Street, as well as numbers 3 and 5 Cemetery Road. As you mentioned, we're here for an ANRAD. Since our last meeting, The commission's peer reviewer, DeRosa, completed a site walk in a peer review of the delineation. And as noted in their report, they agree with the delineation and recommend the commission issue the ORAD with no changes to the wetland line. I would naturally feel the same way as they do. So we're here seeking an order to close out the NRAD.
Okay, thanks. I did see the peer review report that
Yep.
they said that your lines were, there's no disagreement with the lines that you had drawn. Okay, I really have no questions. Mike, do you have any questions?
No.
Lorraine?
I don't have any.
Nope, I'm good.
Is there any public input, questions, comments? Mr. Bradstreet?
I'm gonna ask about
That's not up to us to right now.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. When they talk about delineation of the wetlands from here to there, how is it marked off so that it's clearly visible to someone? Not me, I'm not going to trespass, but if someone were to go up and say, that doesn't appear to be 100 feet, 35 feet, how is it marked off so that someone, if they are able to look at it, will know that this is the point that nothing can happen
We
beyond?
have tape
How is-
that they hang from trees that, you know,
The flags.
delineates the mines.
And they're left there permanently?
Well,
I don't know, how do you define permanently? I mean, if this was delineated and you walked out there, you know, with the property owner's permission, I'm not sure just how the ownership works out there. You should be able to see those in the woods.
I'm 80, I'm not going to last forever, but if someone were to replace me and look at the paperwork and they'd go, is this still accurate? You have the wetlands receded or expanded? How do you, in the
The
future, how
NRAD
do you?
is good for a certain period of time. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, I would have to
3
double
years?
check, but, yeah, I mean, with having Marshanda do it and then having the peer review as well, and there were no discrepancies between the two reports that were done.
can I just add something, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So, Bill, what can happen over time is the boundaries can change or the wetland can change, and sometimes we're concerned that, oh, it's been 10 years since that was flagged, and we want to see if there are any changes, and sometimes you do find that. But the flags, they just tie them around the trees and the branches, and they last, you know, sometimes you go out and you see them from 20 years ago.
Only reason I ask is in the past, at one of the meetings, I think it was Wenham Street, someone trespassed on conservation land and cut some trees down. And to me, it would be, gee, where is the line which delineates where the conservation land ends or begins? If someone were to cut a tree down, how would they know? With
They'd
a
have an
less-
order of conditions that would tell them where they could.
And again, it's marked off
And if
clearly.
there's any question, they should ask.
Yes.
We have a
When in
very
doubt.
helpful staff that would.
When in doubt, ask. Thank you.
Not when in doubt, cut. When in doubt, ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He gets it.
Are there any other comments, questions? No? Okay, I see no reason why we shouldn't issue this and just let these guys get on their way.
Yeah.
So someone can make a motion to that
I'll make a
effect?
motion. We vote to issue an order of resource area delineation for the properties at 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, and 5 Cemetery Road, confirming the wetlands delineation as noted on the plan titled ANRAD Plan 348 Andover Street, 3 Cemetery Road, 5 Cemetery Road, dated April 11, 2024, stamped by Craig M. Marchionda, professional engineer, prepared by Marchionda and Associates, LP.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good enough.
Thank you.
You're all
Appreciate
set.
it.
Thank you. Okay, next up is a notice of intent for 500 Maple Street, DEP file number 14-1422. The applicant is Arthur McCory. And you are?
Yes, my name is Ben Minix with Eagle Brook Engineering and Survey. 491 Maple Street in Danvers. So I'll just, yes, please, if you could show the site plans, and I'll give a little bit of backstory from the last meeting.
Can we just keep zooming that?
Make that
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah, yeah. All right, so this is the proposed. Do you want the existing or the?
Yeah, if we could go to the existing, I'll just give a
Okay.
brief recap of where we left off.
1 second.
If it's hard to find, I can go through the other one too. If you could zoom in on the bottom left box there, that'd be great.
Did you go to this site plan? Did you go to this site?
Yeah.
visit?
Thank you.
Just me there.
Okay, so we're here for 500 Maple Street. This is an after-the-fact filing regarding paving work that was done on the property. We met with the commission on 3 separate occasions in the last month to review what work was done on the property. Ahead of time, Eagle Brook marked the limits of the pre-existing pavement, the old shed that was removed, and the lawn that was paved. On the site plan here, this is the existing conditions overlaid of what was previously there. So this hatched area here, that was lawn before. Now the pavement is this shaded area as well as this hatched area in front of the building. So when we met with the commission, commission members, we discussed what opportunities there are for mitigation for what was additionally paved and how we could help the applicant with some ponding of water in this back area here. So if we could go to the proposed plan, please. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, one second.
So this plan depicts the proposed mitigation for the additional stormwater runoff from the additional pavement that was added to the site. The pavement in this area here, all the runoff from there goes to a small eroded swale in this area here. Runoff from the rail trail down off-site and off the screen. That also goes to that area there. What we're looking to do is install a sediment basin here, mainly consisting of riprap, and also plant some shrubs on the back of that to create a natural buffer between the wetlands and the active property. So that sediment basin is sized to contain and treat 1 inch of runoff times the impervious area that was added to the parking lot here. We also met with Stephen King, the town engineer, to discuss this proposal and also to discuss any potential improvements to the runoff that comes from Maple Street. Unfortunately, that's under the state's jurisdiction and would take a much bigger task to get some traction on fixing that culvert and the accumulation of sediment into the wetlands. We requested that a repair be requested of Mass DOT, but we all know that takes some time. So we're happy to discuss the proposed improvements and any questions you may have.
One quick question before we even get to the improvements. Could you show me on this drawing the area that was paved and how it relates to the 35 and 50 buffer lines?
Sure. Could you please zoom in one more time? Thank you. And then slightly down if you could. Thank you. Just one more down if you could, please. Thank you. So the wetland line is, if you can follow my highlight there, basically the top of the existing berm that was there before and still exists today. The current pavement limits is what's noted with EOP, edge of pavement. That's around the building, basically on 3 sides, almost all the way around the building. The additional pavement that was added is a box towards the northeast side of the property. The 35 foot buffer zone is here. 50 foot is right here, goes through the building and up there, and 100 is back here. So almost the whole property is at least within the 100-foot buffer zone.
So, but the pavement that was done was all outside of the 50-foot buffer.
The increase in pavement, aside from this little section here, the increase in pavement was all between, I think it was around 90% was in the 50 to 100-foot.
Was outside the 50?
Outside the 50. The majority was outside the 50, but within the 100-foot.
Some is within the 50, though?
I'd have to go back to the other
And
plan
then
if you want to see that.
And more importantly, none is within the 35.
Repaving was done, so there was some disturbance, but there wasn't additional pavement added to that 35.
Where was the disturbance?
So, sorry, I misspoke. We did have this additional pavement right here within the 35, but
Right.
all of this pre-existing pavement was repaved again, so that, I guess, would classify as disturbance within all the buffer zones, as well as re-gravel this area within the 35, 50, and 100.
You're saying on the repaved, it was previously paved?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
Remember, there was a driveway alongside it?
Yeah.
So the total increase in pavement was 2,400 square feet, just over 2,400 square feet. And they did take down a shed.
Right.
That shed was in the partial 35
Now,
and 50.
this basin that you described down in the corner of the wetlands,
Yes.
how does that improve over existing conditions?
So currently, there's an eroded swale right here. Everything from this pavement and the offsite zone back here drains along the edge of pavement through that eroded swale, and there's no stopping water or any sediment from traveling from the site or off-site down that swale into the wetland. Also including this existing gravel road that's used by the town.
Oh, that drains to that same spot?
All drains to that same spot. And what we're seeing is there's a lot of ponding of water here because of the issues with the runoff and sediment travel from Maple Street. So to alleviate some of those concerns, we want to lower the grade here about 6 inches and also block that swale so that water has to go through that basin and we can treat it before it goes into the wetland. So in my opinion, even if there wasn't paving done, this basin is an improvement to just parking in itself because it's got to go through the basin versus the swale.
Okay.
Yes.
I was looking to see some sort of improvement over there.
Right.
It seems that's what you've done, so it's good. All right, that's all I have for questions. Let me open it to other members. Mike, you have any questions?
Yes. So how did you calculate the size and the depth of the basin that you're proposing?
Yes, so I had to play around with the configuration of this basin a little bit as part of the grading and how to get water to flow to that and not elsewhere. But in part in doing that, it's 2,400 square feet times 1 inch of runoff.
All right, and what, is that a 1 inch, or is that like a rule of thumb number?
Yeah, typically it's a ½ inch or 1 inch of runoff is what you would treat for your first flush of runoff. So typically our storms in this area, our typical storm is around 1 inch of runoff. So you want to treat that first flush, and that's where you get most of your sediment.
All right. And when you capture the sediment, what are you doing with it?
So in this particular instance, it's such a small amount because you're not going to really
Yeah,
sand.
well, I'm thinking a lot of vehicles are parking there, right?
Right, but you're not going to sand this parking lot like you would a roadway where you're dumping, lots of sand on there, lots of salt. So this is going to be large riprap, 5 to 10 pound stones. So the sediment will actually flush into that
And
stone.
how deep do you think the basin will be?
So I have it as about 1.5 feet here, so not too deep. And the issue with
That's
that
not
is
very deep.
it's not very deep because groundwater is only 1.5 feet.
So will
below
there be
that.
like will there be some device in there to grab the sediment or capture it, or what's going to happen to the sediment?
So that's why we selected a larger stone versus a smaller stone. So it does have more time to build up before you need to come and clean it, but you would have to manually clean it, whether with a vacuum truck or go in by hand and rake it out or take it all out and put new stone. But we're not talking about a lot of runoff going to this area. And one thing I should have mentioned before too is, and I think we discussed this on site, the town is working with the state, and they're going to be using this road as access to the the power plant in the back.
That's
gonna be
right. So
decommissioned.
you no longer will be accessing that road, right?
I don't think it's going to be necessarily blocked off, but
You have your own entrance in.
they have their own entrance here. But there is a driveway here that's been there a long time. I'm not going to get into the.
I thought the applicant said they weren't using that.
I don't know if there was any necessarily reason they couldn't just use this, but as far as their rights to use it, I haven't assessed that.
You
so I
haven't
don't know.
explored that.
You know, that's
So,
beyond
this isn't like, sometimes we're presented with an applicant, they have like an actual system for
Right.
grabbing any sediment and how they treat it, how they treat the water, because that's going to go into the wetland, isn't it?
So the sediment is going to be trapped there, and then we have a small spillway, if you will. It's not really a spillway because it's so small, but it's, again, that 5 to 10 pound stone where once the water gets over that limit, it's going to spill over. But the point of the sediment basin is it allows the particles to settle in the pond, in the
Yeah.
basin.
And what's the diameter of the basin?
I believe that was 20 feet across.
20 feet?
It's on the site plan. I just can't quite read it there. I forget the exact dimension.
Yeah. All right, and would you just talk about how often it'll have to be cleaned and what's the cleaning process?
Sure. So typical cleaning process would be to inspect the stone, and I would expect you wouldn't need this more than once a year, except for leaf removal, because you're going to get some leaves falling from the trees along the edge of wetlands. So you'd have to manually remove the leaves. That would be probably the biggest thing. I don't think you're going to get a lot of sediment because, as I was mentioning, this road is going to be reconstructed, and there's going to be more stormwater controls and design that goes into this road and access once the DPW building design goes underway. So Stephen King mentioned that some of that runoff that's coming from the rail trail right now is going to be decided in a different matter once they go into full design. So I'm not looking to treat water that's coming off-site from somewhere else. I'm really only looking at their use as far as on their lot, which isn't a high production sediment use.
All right, that's all my questions.
Okay, just a quick follow-up question. Actually, I think I heard Lorraine mention.
You go ahead.
Who will be responsible for cleaning the basin?
So that would be the owner or I guess a landscape contractor if they were to hire one, most likely one of those
Make
two.
that a condition.
An order of condition, yeah.
Okay, Lorraine, do you have any questions?
I guess my only one would be, is there, we've had some crazy weather. There's some crazy storms where we might get inches of rain, and I'm hearing that there'll be other than for leaves, there'll be just an annual cleanup. But what about a process that if there is extreme weather and there is a lot of overflowing, or maybe there was more sediment or more leaves got in there, it just seems like, is there a regular check to make sure everything's all right?
Yeah, if it would appease the commission, we could draft up a maintenance procedure as part of a condition in, for that specific type of event and annual maintenance, semi-annual maintenance, that would go along with that. That makes sense to me.
Hi. Thank you for coming and sharing this. I know it's been a long journey for you, and there's been a lot of questions that we have. I just have a couple things I wanted to check in with. This is an order of conditions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm concerned about the fuel that might leak from those vehicles and any oil or pollutants from the vehicles if
Right.
something happened. And I know the vehicles look beautiful and new and gorgeous, but accidents do happen.
Right.
Is there something in place for that if there's a spill or something? I know on the previous order of conditions, there was a thing listed to notify the commission if there's a spill or something. I'm just thinking if the driveway tilts towards the wetlands and you do have that beautiful structure you've designed set up,
Yep.
if something does get into the wetlands that way, I don't know if we would do that, Emily?
If the commission wanted to, there could be a condition on there about fuel spillage and cleanup.
Yeah, I would like that.
What kind of condition would that be, Emily? Could you do, what do you imagine?
We have that, it's one of those stock conditions that we have for projects like this is to, of course, notify the commission or let staff know right away, and then best management practices to get it cleaned up, what type of spill, how much.
Maybe similar to the language we read
We could
previously
use
on
this
exact-
spills.
Yep,
Wording.
Spills of any quantity.
yes,
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
And I would like to just emphasize, I know I mentioned it, but currently there's just the eroded swale that goes to the wetland with water flowing back and forth depending on the storm events. Even if any work wasn't done to this property, this basin helps in that regard, just from the current condition. Even if it's not runoff from the site, if it's coming from this gravel access road and, oil or gas were to travel
Just a
that way.
quick follow-up to Mary's question. I'm presuming and I'm hoping that there's no maintenance activity taking place in the yard for these vehicles.
Not that I know of. I believe it's all done at a garage, but
Right.
I can't say.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we will,
We
we'll
don't want them
definitely-
changing oil in the,
Exactly, but I mean, if they're not doing it, it cuts down the chances of it.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
what did he say?
he says he has a garage where they work on
Across the street? Oh. All right, so that's another thing, no work done on the vehicles, right?
it, and that too.
Could I follow up on something
Let Mary finish
Lorraine
first.
said? Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Mary, you all set?
I just had a couple other things, but if you want to follow up, that's
Well,
okay.
the only thing was that Lorraine mentioned about if you talk about the 25, 50, 100-year storms, that 1 foot, how, is it 1, 1.5?
it was about 1.5. If you
That would not handle something like that.
That's correct, and the main reason for that is because groundwater is so close. We're so close to the wetland and it's ponding as it is. In order to treat those storms, you'd have to go up another 5 feet, which
Yeah.
makes the whole backyard not usable, and
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
it'd be a huge hole.
Yeah, you'd have to do something else, but
Yeah.
you'd be looking into pumping somewhere else, really.
So what-
Doesn't make sense.
Do we have a provision that addresses that?
For this specific to them, if there's a 100-year storm,
Yeah. What would it be?
I would have to look into that.
Yeah. I'm I mean, when we see systems designed, they're always in terms of the 100-year storm or 50-year storm, and we don't see that.
So this is, if you read the Massachusetts Stormwater Standards, their first, one of the conditions, or one of the standards, is to treat so much runoff. And what I've done is taking that standard, the 1 inch of runoff times the new increase in impervious area, and use that as the design factor for this. Basically because we can't fit anything additional to infiltrate water. Plus it's all going to gravel, so we're already infiltrating it all as it is. You can't treat it more if you don't have room to treat it, basically.
And 1 inch it was half to 1, but you went to the 1 inch?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head what that threshold is, but 1's pretty standard.
All right. All right, that's it. Like,
I just had a couple more. The gravel is going to stay gravel, it's not going to be paved?
That's correct. We're going to have to, we're going to remove some of this gravel off-site to lower this to get that water to flow to where we want it to. But it's still going to remain gravel. It's not going to be paved again. Not that it was ever paved.
And if there was a landscape contractor, I know on the location there wasn't a lot of landscaping that needed to be done. But is there anything to talk about pesticides or herbicides? Just within the landscaping?
I
And
mean,
Again, I don't think there was a lot, but
I would think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, the general order of conditions statement that you read earlier would follow with that no pesticides
There is
within the buffer
boilerplate.
zones.
yeah, okay.
Language in
I'm
there.
guessing that would cover that.
And then I think, and what were the two invasives? Oh, not, sorry, the two native species you're going to use?
So that was a, if you could please go to the top left corner. One was a blueberry, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that, but
And where are those going to be planted?
in a honeysuckle. So those are alternating on the back berm of the basin, and that's going to be a natural buffer between the wetland and the parking area.
Okay.
And it'll be one of each?
That's 5 total.
Oh,
Three
5 total.
three blueberry, 2 honeysuckle, and
Right.
I got those from the New England plant species, wetlands plant species.
I have another question.
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, you have something?
One more. Yeah, when I went out there, I think with Emily and the applicants, in the back, I'm trying to remember, they were beyond their boundary, or was there paving beyond there, or are you aware of that?
We are aware. I can show you again, Emily, sorry if you can
Yeah.
go back
I
to
didn't
that.
see that.
Yeah, I remember asking about it.
Yep. So if you can follow my cursor, this is the property line, the sideline. This is the rear property line. When we
Right.
went out there, you would be able to observe the gravel beyond the property line.
Yeah,
Some of that was already disturbed area from the previous owner. And I think we discussed, it's not so intuitive to tell where you are unless you get it staked like we have done now. So they were parking some of their vehicles in this
Right.
area here. But no, the pavement is right here and the property line is over here. So their vehicles right now are parked up to.
and you're not doing anything beyond that back line?
The only thing we're doing here is removing some of that gravel that was placed as part of the cleanup. And that's in order to get the water to the sediment basin instead of against the building.
All right, thank you.
Are they allowed to be parking vehicles within the 35 and the 50-foot buffers?
It's, I would have to check because that also abuts part of the rail trail property. So, and I believe that there had been parking back there before.
There had been?
I believe so.
I'm thinking more, there were vehicles parked right behind the building.
Oh, I see.
I mean, all I could say to that is it was done previously. Not to say that previous action warrants current action, but all this was paved and it was used for the residents parking before.
Do we have a regulation as to that?
Not that I'm aware of.
I don't think
I
so,
don't think so.
because it's more along the lines of building.
Yeah, and if
Uh,
it was a residence, it would only be a couple cars, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I think there was a boat, big boat back here, a couple cars, and then we had the shed too.
just one follow-up too on you're going to say you're going to remove some material. So there's going to be excavation. Is there an erosion control plan as part of that plan?
Yeah, so it's more of scraping. Yes, there's going to be what I would consider excavation here, and then more scraping just to try and regrade. And then there's a couple mounds of gravel that were left here. We're going to clean those up too.
And that's off-site,
That's technically off-site, yes, that's on town property.
but you're allowed to work on there?
Well, we're requesting that it be allowed to go fix the issue that was created. And then the erosion control that we're proposing, silt fence and straw wattle along that gravel and
So
along the wetland line.
but that's not your property, right? So
That's correct, that is town property right there.
No.
Right in that section there.
So you-
okay. And Steve King is
Is
pretty much
Steve
on
King
board with this
aware of
project.
that?
Yes, yeah, you've been working with Steve.
I walked the site after I met with you with
Yeah.
Steve King to discuss this and the Maple Street drainage issue.
Everybody got all their questions answered? Is there any public questions or comments? Mr. Bradstreet? Bill, we're gonna put a pitch clock on you, so you have to get there faster, so you're gonna have to sit up front.
I'm old, be patient. Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. When they talked about sediment, I think it was mentioned that it would be a calendar period for checking to see if the sediment had, is a visual?
He's gonna have to submit a maintenance plan, I think. Aren't we doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
I'd rely more on visual. Obviously, the calendar is important, but I certainly would want to rely on some visual check at the same time. Not 6 months or 3 months, but
Ongoing.
ongoing, that's a good term. Just a question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, everyone think we should proceed with this?
I could just answer that if you'd like me to. As part of our typical maintenance procedure, there are thresholds as far as the storm event size that you have to go out and inspect whatever control you're using, in this case, the sediment basin. So over a certain size storm, that is included as part of a standard maintenance procedure.
What is the square footage of this basin?
Well, it's a 20-foot diameter.
22 by 8 wide. I don't know the top of my head.
22 by 8?
22 feet long by 8 foot wide is about the size. You know, it curves, so I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay,
Like a room size, like a
good size.
room size, good-sized room, yeah.
All right, someone can make a motion with any conditions we think are as appropriate. We can move ahead with this.
Waiting for me.
Or Mary. Mary had the...
Yeah, just give me
Here,
one
you
second.
want to make a motion? You want, I'll do it.
Yes. Give me a moment.
I think we could, I just want to say, just as a comment, that this was a residential use that's actually been turned into another use that might not have been perfectly adaptable. And I think they're doing the best they can, but that's what happens when you take an area and try to make it something other than what it was intended to.
But just to follow up on the lesson to be learned here, the question was asked 2 or 3 years ago, and they went ahead and didn't work. I think if they had been in contact with the planning department, they would have said, don't pave there.
Yeah, it
So
wouldn't have happened.
That's why we have to learn from this and
Yeah,
try to prevent that happening again.
we just keep getting smarter as these,
You might.
Can we just review quickly the order of conditions that we have?
What do you mean?
we want to mention about cleaning spills of any quantity.
Yep.
Yeah, those are conditions that we had, Mary. So-
Yeah,
So do I have to say that, or can I?
yeah, you should read them.
Okay, so spills, and then what else? Just want to make sure.
The maintenance plan.
Maintenance plan, yep.
They, cleaning out, regularly cleaning visible debris that,
Why don't we just leave it as a agreed upon maintenance plan instead of getting into too many details
Yeah.
right here?
Agreed upon, yep.
with staff, you mean, with the
Right.
with our staff, yeah?
I think that's it, because everything else they've done and they've put in, right?
Well, and then this condition we had in the previous one, if there's any discharge or spillage of fuel that they have to notify.
Oh, yep, yep.
Yeah. That, and the other thing would be, they're gonna be digging this hole up, you know, what are they gonna do in terms of erosion control?
I think he has that on the
You
plan.
got something?
Yes, so we have sill fence and straw wattle around the perimeter of work, so all down gradient of the work. And that would be installed first order of business.
No, that soil that's coming out, where is that going?
That'd have to be disposed of off-site,
Be taken off-site?
taken off-site, yeah. Yeah, because we can't,
It won't be left for like days or weeks, it'll be,
well, I sure hope not. That's not my intention. I can't speak for someone else doing it, but yes, the intention is to take it off-site because we can't place it somewhere else. That'll mess with the grading that we've
yeah,
designed.
so we might want to say that that's to be taken off-site, not left a big pile of dirt that,
So say that one more time so I can say it correctly?
Just
Yeah.
excavated materials are disposed of off-site.
to be removed, removed and taken off-site as soon as practical, you know?
I'll tell you the story later.
And what are they going to use in the back to de-ice the pavement?
When I went to business, we were taught to be as brief as possible. Use this
Yeah,
Concise, yeah.
in your
anything?
attorney. You just
Well, you know, it's funny.
So he typically just plows it with no de-icing chemical or material.
Should that be an order of conditions, no de-icing? Or no rock salts?
No rock salt, no de-icing or anything?
Well,
That's
Yeah.
all. That's
You got a
all in
safety
the
issue.
order of conditions.
All right,
Order
I'm
of
good.
conditions,
Okay.
okay.
All right, I'm ready to go. So I would say I propose to vote.
No, just make a motion to
Make a
approve.
motion. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
No,
Oh, sorry.
order
Order
of
of
conditions.
Order of conditions, I'm on the wrong one. You got me nervous doing something
No,
the
don't
first
worry.
time.
Just relax.
No problem, we got time.
All right, hold on. Make sure I got the right page here. The one, Page 4. Okay.
So it's 500 Maple.
There we go, okay. I make a notice to issue the order of conditions for 500 Maple Street, DEP number 14-1422, with additional conditions as discussed, and that would be cleaning any spills that occur, fuel, oil, gas, maintenance plan that we've agreed upon, any discharge or spillage of fuel, and the material that, anything that's excavated will be removed and taken off site.
And we add no work to be done on the vehicles on site?
Yes, we can add that. No work to be done on the vehicles in site.
Okay, and it was part of this notification if there was a spill. You have to notify that.
Yeah,
Yes,
immediately.
notify the Conservation Commission immediately for any spillage.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
You got all that?
I got it all.
All right.
Well, Emily has it all.
And
too.
Emily, more importantly,
I've got
you
it.
have it all.
Yes, I've got it, and I'll get it over to you. as soon
Motion's
as I
been
have
made.
site
Is there a
down.
second?
Second, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And the next time, ask. Where are we at now? A request for, request for determination of applicability for 200 North Street, RDA file number 2024-06. The applicant is
Take care.
200 North Street. The applicant is 200 North Street Association, Inc. Hello.
How you doing? Wally Monroe. I'm the president of 200 North Street. I'm actually a resident also. We're here today to see and ask if we could put trailers, additional trailers on our property that actually have existed in the past. The utilities are there. We're just asking to replace those that were taken away. I think if you guys remember, last April, we were here asking, because we were getting all the utilities done, water, sewerage, drainage. We have, we're kind of shovel ready to go ahead and do all that. And then in June, so Mr. Bobreck is our engineer for this project. So we had all that in order and ready to go, and instead of it being roughly around $800,000 to $1 million, it was, come to find out, it was like $2.4 million. So we had some money set aside. It's become a real challenge. We've put in for different award money and grant money that's been made available to communities in similar situations as ours throughout Massachusetts and New England. The last one was the housing, affordable housing award that was sent out. We fell short. We got letters from Mr. King, Mr. Barther. We got letters of recommendation from the affordable housing here in Danvers, and unfortunately, we fell short on that. And we've come to a point where we just don't have any other way to fund this. I mean, our water, our potable water is like in rough shape. Back in the 60s or whatever, it was used. They used irrigation tubing to supply the homes with water and stuff like that. So that's all going to be replaced. We're going to be replacing a lot of the sewer. The catch basins, we have all that ready to go, and we're just short on funding, and we've already increased the rent upwards of $250 since we purchased the property to our residents. And it's a lot of elderly and people, that don't have a lot of extra means to pay a lot more rent.
Yeah.
We don't want to put that burden on them,
So what are you here for?
So I'm here to ask, I'm sorry, I can ramble. We're here to ask to put 10 additional trailers
Yeah.
on our property.
But your infrastructure's already there, correct? I mean,
Yeah, the infrastructure is there, sir.
There's no excavation required. It's
No.
just a question of backing the trailer in and making the
Well,
connections.
do you have put
So
new
we'll-
pads in?
Yeah. So we replace the existing pad that's there. We don't change anything. I mean,
Pads have to get bigger?
The pads will be a little bigger because they used to be 12-foot wide trailers,
Yeah,
now
right.
they're
You have to
14.
accommodate the bigger trail.
Yeah,
If I may, I just,
Now you're asking?
go ahead, pick my brain before I
No,
ramble.
The thing I'm struggling with this whole thing is that you already have an existing order of conditions. It's, I mean, if you know what you need to do if there's any kind of excavation as far as erosion control and so forth. So I'm not really sure why you're coming back to ask. It seems to me, I mean, if there's work to be done to get trailers in there to
Yep.
increase your revenue base,
Yep,
I'd say, go ahead.
I appreciate that. You know, we went to the planning board and we got agreement with them, and we just wanted to make sure that we,
well,
Okay, well,
these-
that's my opinion. So now
Solidify.
I'm gonna pass it off. So Mike, you're chomping at the bit to
well,
ask
I
some
want to
questions.
say,
So go ahead.
well, a lot of this work, you're going to be digging those pads up and putting down new pads, right?
usually it's not even a lot of excavating of the existing, like, compacted soil. It's built up off of what's
Yeah.
there.
So
It's
is
kind of like
this-
scraped
Is
and,
work done in a resource area? It is, right?
It is, but I believe that the reason they're asking for the negative
Yeah.
determination of applicability is because they're not going further into the wetlands.
Yeah.
Or it's
Okay.
all already existing, just,
Yeah. So my understanding is that you're a co-op there now,
yes, sir.
but this is like a venture that you'll probably, what are you going to be selling bringing some trailers in, mobile homes and selling them?
Yes, we have somebody that's agreed to bring the mobile homes in for us with no cost to the residents. They will sell them and we will collect the rent, which will offset any, the $1 million+ we
So
may
you're
have.
going to be renting those?
Well, that's what we do. We rent
Yeah,
ourselves.
so, but the people that come in will be part of the cooperative,
Yeah, yeah,
won't they?
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was getting at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They'll purchase the trailer and then they'll stop paying rent just like we
Yeah.
all do. Yep,
Okay.
Okay, thanks. I think it's a good plan.
okay.
I just have a quick question. Are they redoing all the water for you guys?
Yes, they are.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
have a lot of-
they're doing, the association is
Yes.
funding this.
Yes.
not the town.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. But to support those and for everybody else too, that's
So-
part of the project.
Yes.
So like I just said, I'll just say it again, you already have an existing order of conditions, and you know what needs to be done to protect the resource areas.
Yes, sir.
So, I think if we can presume that that's gonna happen, we don't need to, issue a negative,
I'll make a motion on that. if you like.
yeah, we need to issue a negative
Yeah.
determination.
Yeah.
Right.
Any public input, or?
I'm not even sure if it needs it for this. Is this public hearing, do we need public input? Well,
it's not necessarily, but it's up to you if you would like.
we might as well. So is there any public comments, questions? Seeing none? Okay, so someone can make a motion for
Yeah.
a negative determination of applicability?
I'll make a motion as to 200 North Street, request for determination of applicability, DCC file number 2024-06, that we issue a negative determination of applicability for 200 North Street, RDA 2024-06.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you
Okay,
very
there you
much for
go.
your time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next up is a notice of intent for 10 Riverside Street, DEP file number 14-1424. The applicant is Chris Farrell.
Hi, I'm Caitlin White from Hancock Associates, in representation of the applicant. So, the home is located on Crane River. In existing conditions, he has a railroad tie retaining wall along the bank of the river. It's deteriorating, there's dry rot. What we're looking to do, what we're proposing, is to replace in-kind, not increasing any surface area, with a concrete block retaining wall.
Sorry.
Any disturbance will be temporary because it is in kind. He has not determined yet if the installation will be by sea or by land, but in that consideration, they will consider the disturbance. If you can zoom in just to, and there will be coir logs in place just to protect from any sediment loss. Do you have any questions about the project?
What was the last, what would protect from?
Coil,
The coir logs.
C-O-I-R, coil,
Yeah,
Yeah.
COIR, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And this is just, so you're taking out an existing wall?
Yes.
And what kind of, you're gonna have to replace some kind of footing, right, to put these concrete blocks on?
Yes, yeah. In kind, it's just 40 feet along the back of his property along the river.
Okay. And the work will be done between high tides?
Yes, yeah.
And you're not sure if it's gonna be done from land or from
That
a
is not
barge?
determined yet, no.
Okay, just a quick question. We authorized someone to build a dock somewhere down on Riverside? I wish I knew the number. It's right in that vicinity. Is the property owner here? Do you know which one?
Was there a new dock?
There was a new dock that was permitted. I don't think it was ever built.
There was a dock that was permitted and built 3 doors down from my home. I know we did a retaining wall, block style, and pier with dock as well. I'm just proposing that, there's a railroad tie wall that's there, that's existing, and it's deteriorating quite fast. My objective and goal is to, eliminate the deterioration of both the railroad tie wall and the yard from kind of progressing towards the water, and being able to put up some type of fence potentially. I have a young son, about 9.5
Yeah.
months old, so we're racing against him being able to walk.
Mhm.
And right now, I just want to take it.
And I'm sorry, you are Christopher?
Chris Farrell, at Riverside, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have for questions for now, at least. Mike, do you have any questions?
No, the retaining wall's falling in and you need to replace it.
Yeah.
It's clear, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's in the same footprint, it's not
yeah,
encroaching
same
on
footprint,
the...
no expansion, nope.
It's nice to have a waterfront project.
Yeah.
Lorraine, do you have any questions?
No, it looks like the harbor master has approved of this as well. That would be my only question, but
Yeah, yeah. So the coir logs hold things up until the concrete blocks are put in?
So they're in the river,
Yep.
just to protect against sediment, if any sediment were to get out, so it doesn't get into the river. We're not expecting that, but it's better to, have a safety precaution in place.
Mary, anything else?
I might be reading, it says the existing railroad tie wooden wall will be replaced with a concrete block retaining wall?
Yes,
Right.
That's
And
correct.
is these the blocks that there's others down in the port that
Those
just
big ones?
stacked?
yeah, they're from
Blocks go
shade
first,
concrete.
And then the logs?
The logs will be put in first before earth disturbance.
Yep.
Just to protect against sediment travel.
Yeah.
And then the construction of the wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, and was there harbor master comment on this?
Yeah.
Harbor Master reviewed the NOI and no concerns.
And he said he had no concerns.
No
All right,
concerns.
okay. I know there were 2, but one of them's the, okay. So Mary, you're all set, everybody's all set? Is the public any comment, questions? Mr. Bradstreet?
Continue.
Hmm.
Then I can go.
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I'm glad the safety issue was mentioned by the folks, not just dealing
Can you
with you
speak up,
folks.
Bill?
I was glad to hear there was a safety issue that they are addressing, not necessarily your area of expertise, not only for the family member, but a safety issue for anyone in that area. I was happy to hear of that. Just a comment.
Good to know, thank you. Is there any other comment, questions? No? Will this project be overseen by planning? Do they check periodically to make sure things
Yes,
are done?
yeah, as our planning technician will be out there checking periodically, and then they'll be checking in with the harbor master as well throughout the project.
Okay, and how long do you think the project will take from start to finish?
I am not sure. Have you heard anything from your contractor?
When are you starting?
So, no.
And I'm sorry, could you please just go to the microphone? I'm sorry. I should have asked you that before, I'm sorry.
Chris Farrell, 10 Riverside. So I got rough plans and estimates from Shea Concrete, the manufacturers of the blocks, to be placed in kind of the existing wall. They're essentially ready to go. They've been working to assign an installer, a contractor. They just wanted to hear that everything was a go-ahead, and I can give them, the word to proceed. And I know, obviously, I've never done this before, but my neighbor's wall, I believe it took about 3 months from the first time that they started. I know they like to, get all the material on site, get the coir logs in site, and do the footing, take it step by step. Obviously, the town will be out to inspect as we proceed, so no real timeline on it, but I don't imagine more than a few months.
And the logs that you're removing will be removed promptly?
Yes, removed and disposed of, absolutely. I'm taken off site.
Okay. I think we should make that a condition as part of an order of conditions.
The coil?
That, and just that the logs are removed promptly, because there's no space down there, so,
Yeah.
wherever space you can store them for any amount of time, they're gonna find their way to the water, so we wanna get them out of there as quickly as we can. Okay, so someone can make a motion, please?
I'll make it. I make a motion to issue an order of conditions for 10 Riverside Street, DEP number 14-1424, with additional conditions as discussed, immediately removal of the logs that are taken away.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
What's
much.
what's the waiting period, Emily, from the time that this order will be issued now?
I'll have the order of conditions to you probably by next Friday, and then you'll just need to record that at the Registry of Deeds, and then you'll be able to get started, but I'll email you everything that you need to take the next steps.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emily. Thank you,
Of
board.
course.
Just
There you go.
a quick follow-up. It's the applicant's responsibility to get it through the Registry of Deeds?
Yes, yep. And you can't start work until it's recorded with the registry. So in our inspections, if there's work going on, but we haven't received the recorded order back from you, then that would be an immediate stop work until that's
So-
recorded.
Violation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Registry of Deeds notifies your department that someone
No,
is...
we ask the applicant when they record it to also email us a recorded copy,
Yeah.
and then we add that to our file.
Okay.
And she can go right on the registry site.
Yeah,
and-
yeah,
and
we can just hop
look
into
at-
But do
look
we
it
have
up.
a mechanism to follow up if we've issued an order of conditions and they have not
I'm sorry?
filed with the Registry of Deeds?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a mechanism to check on that?
Yes, our planning technician checks all of our files regularly, and we're cleaning everything up. And if people are doing work and we can't find that recorded copy, the first step is reaching right out to that applicant. Sometimes something gets recorded but doesn't make it onto the site, so you have to search by the book and page number. If they do not have that information, then it's an immediate stop
We
work,
have
get it
to now
recorded.
say that no work will be begun until the order of conditions is recorded and,
Yes, yeah, that's one of
planning
our
is
stop
notified.
conditions.
That's part of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
document.
well, yeah.
But yes, we're tightening up on all of that. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, did we vote?
we voted.
Yes, you voted.
We did.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, and just, there's a 3-year limit on order of conditions.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can come back after 3 years and ask for a 1-year extension.
Okay.
But we just really want to make sure people come back and get the project closed out.
I don't think he wants to wait that long if his
No,
retaining
I was
wall's
gonna say,
falling
skip it.
down.
Oh, no, my son will be running by then.
I just,
so-
a lot of times you saw it tonight, the project was done almost
2007.
almost 20 years ago, and then
Yeah.
they just never closed it all
Yeah.
up. We're trying to avoid that.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you all.
good luck.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Next up is a notice of intent for 17 and 19 Tibbetts Ave, DEP file number 14-1423. The applicant is Laura Miles and Michael Larkin. The applicants have
Good luck.
requested to continue to our September 12, 2024 meeting, so if someone can make a motion to continue until then, we will do that.
I'll make a motion to continue the notice of intent to September 12th, 2024.
Okay, just give the address.
Oh, the
and
address, okay.
number.
The notice of intent, 310 CMR 10.054, 17 and 19 Tibbetts Avenue, DEP file number 141423. Applicant Laura Miles and Michael Larkin. We'll extend that to September 12th, 2024.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to old or new business, is there anything, Emily, that's?
Nope, I'm expecting a couple of more things to come in for the September 12th meeting besides 17 and 19 Tibbetts. The deadline for that is August 26th, so people have until Monday. So I'm expecting a couple of more applications for that meeting. I'll send you all updates as soon as that comes in.
Okay. Just a quick note on our October 11th meeting. I will not be present. I will be away.
I won't be
And
present.
you won't be present either? Okay.
These people are starting to talk.
Okay, so it's up to,
We'll be in Germany.
You won't be
Mary
here
Beth
either.
John?
No, I'll be in Italy.
All right, so we'll have
Good for
to,
you.
so that October 11th.
So we're gonna need John here.
Meeting, just the quorum is questionable, so
Right.
if,
Okay,
because
absolutely.
the same
yeah.
situation we had earlier in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for old and new business, so
Move to
Someone make a-
adjourn.
we have a
Make a-
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, good enough, thank you.
Hey, good meeting.